Stage 15 review. Some of the things that you're going to have to do in order to do well on the test. Recognition of tenses. We have the imperfect tense. We have the perfect tense. We have, of course, the present tense. Adverb versus adjective recognition. There's going to be some adjectives and adverbs on here. You have to determine whether a word is an adjective or an adverb. Grammatical uses of cases. Our nominative is usually our subject, our dative or indirect object, our accusative or direct object, or could be object of a preposition depending on the preposition. Our ablative is usually the object of a preposition. Degree of adjectives. We have the positive, that's the normal form. We have the comparative, that's the IOR form, and we have the superlative. And that's going to be the double S, double R, or double L. You have your English vocab, claustrophobic. That would be a fear of being enclosed. Impede is whenever you slow something down. Fracture is something that is broken, especially like a broken bone. Nautical has to do with the sea or naval. Tenable is usually associated with battle. It usually means something that is defensible. Undulate means to rise and fall. Prior means previous. Saxifrage is something that breaks rocks. Invincible is unconquerable. And effigy is usually an image, especially a statue. Prepositions in the cases that they use, you're still going to have some of these prepositions. They're going to ask you to determine whether it's ablative or accusative for its object of preposition. For example, cum takes the ablative, prope takes the accusative, odd takes the accusative, ex takes the ablative, in can take either one. Make sure you go through that list of prepositions that you had from last chapter or last stage and determine whether or not they take the accusative or ablative. Adjective agreement. Remember, adjectives agree in case, number, and gender. Our pronouns only agree to number and gender. The case was determined by how it was used inside the relative clause. Quote as which or because. We talked about how if there's a verb right before the quote, it's usually because. It's going to be used as a conjunction. If there is a neuter noun before quote, then it's going to be which. Identify antecedent of relative pronouns. In this case, they're going to give you a qui clause, and they're going to ask you to determine what noun the qui is replacing. Choosing the correct relative form based off the antecedent. This time they're going to give you the antecedent, they're going to give you the noun, and then they're going to ask you which form qui should take. Latin vocab. This is a list of Latin words that are going to be used throughout the test, either in the translation or in some other form. Make sure you go through these. I would use the back of your book. Make sure you know what they mean. Recall the storyline. In this test, all of the questions referring to the storyline are going to be in Latin. The he said, she said, the who did this, and the who did what are going to be Latin questions. Recognizing tribes that were friendly or hostile toward the Romans. They're going to ask you whether or not these tribes helped or opposed the Roman rule. You have the Carta Mandua, which is misspelled here. There we go. They were friendly to the Romans. They had a queen that helped out, handed over some of the people that were not being nice to the Romans. You have the Durotriges. They were definitely not friendly to the Romans. The Caratacus were also not friendly to the Romans, nor were the Iceni. The Brigantes, they were friendly to the Romans, as were the Atrebates. The Boudica were not. So make sure that I would reread that section, that cultural section in your book that has to do with friends and foes, to kind of familiarize yourself with that story. Cultural question. What was a client king? Basically, it was one of the British kings that was allowed to rule as an extension or on the behalf of a more powerful ruler, in this case the Roman rule. What was a colonia? That was a place set up for Roman soldiers in Britain. It was a town with farm allotments. They were allowed to become farmers and retire. To whom was the temple of Novi Magus dedicated? The temple that was in Novi Magus. It was dedicated to Neptune and Minerva. What Roman citizen privilege was bestowed upon Cogidubnus? He was allowed to take 2 of the emperor's names, so he was allowed to have 3 names like a Roman citizen. Why would the Fishborn Palace be given to Cogidubnus? Well, although the Fishborn Palace probably was the residence of Cogidubnus, we're not really 100% sure. So why would the Fishborn Palace be given to Cogidubnus? Well, we're not sure that it was. Why was the Temple of Noeomagus built? It was built to show the Roman ability to build things, their ingenuity, their architectural, and their basically their prowess. It was a way to show the rest of Britain how powerful the Roman Empire was. Why would Cogidubnus worship the emperor? Well, it was a way to build up a sense of unity in their large empire. They really needed the Britons to accept the rule of the emperor. So if they could get people like Cogidubnus to worship the emperor, then the Britons would be more likely to accept his rule. What was the capital of Regnisus? Or Regnisus? It was Noeomagus. What was a collegium? That was a collection of farmers or tradesmen. There's just basically a union of sorts. Who was a client king in our story? Of course, it was Cogidubnus. How was the Fishborn Palace discovered? It was actually discovered by some people that were digging a trench or a drainage ditch. So really wasn't looked for. It was just kind of accidentally found. How would the Romans view a Roman or a woman ruler? Very dangerous. They would see her as dangerous. The ability to drive men, of course, but then they saw women as fickle. So her ability to change sides very quickly would have been feared by the Romans. How did the rights of British women in society differ from their Roman counterparts? British women could own property. They were basically, in many cases, had equal rights to men, not like their Roman counterparts. Who was the god of the sea? Well, of course, that would be Neptune. If you're able to go through these cultural questions, the vocab, and these skills that we've introduced right here, you should do very well on this exam. Let's go through some of the practice questions that should help you with some of the skills that you're expected to have for this test. I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences here with multiple choice. Go through here and answer these questions and see how you do. So hit pause and knock those out for me. Let me change Woonum to Weenum for you. For these first 4, here are your answers. You have D, A, C, and D. Reasons why. Cum takes the ablative. Princeps is nominative. Princepus is also nominative. Principi is dative. So the only ablative form here is D, Principibus. Number 2, we have Culina, A. E takes the ablative, so the only ablative form here is Culina. Culuni is dative. Or it could be nominative plural. Culunum is accusative, and so is Culunus. Pleistrum, select quod. The reason I select quod is because it is neuter and singular. Qui is nominative, qui is plural and masculine, singular and masculine. Qui is singular and feminine. Quam is accusative and singular, and quim is accusative and singular. So the accusatives aren't going to match because, well, I need a subject here. I have proctos and rotos. Remember that Pleistrum dictates the gender of qui, which is nominative, so Pleistrum won't go with it. Pleistrum won't go with qui because it's feminine. Quod is neuter, so that's a possibility. Pleistrum is singular, so is quod. Quam is singular and feminine, won't go with Pleistrum, and quim is masculine and singular, so it won't go with Pleistrum. Remember, the number and gender, in this case the neuter singular, is what dictates using quod. Quod is also the subject, that's why it's nominative. Next one we have quam. Sculptor statuam, the relative pronoun is going to go to the antecedent statuam. I choose the accusative because, well, I was wrong. B was actually the correct answer, not quam, because qui is the subject of est, which makes it nominative. I messed this up, so you be careful not to mess this up on the test. I was just going through it very quickly. Statuum makes it singular, it makes it feminine, but statuum is accusative. The use of the accusative is only determined by how it is used in the clause with s pulchra. I don't have an accusative there. There's no way to have a direct object with s, so I have to have a subject. That's why I use quae as the nominative. Make sure that the case that you choose for the relative is based off of the clause and how it is used inside the clause. I'm going to try to go through a couple more of those to make sure that you're clear with it, since I messed that up. Next, we have here translate these sentences here. We have Vinum quod bibulus est bonum, the wine, because we are drinking it, is good, right? No, because Vinum is a noun, quod quod preceded by a noun, it's going to be which. The wine which we are drinking is good. In the next one we have the boy was leading the man which was lame. That's not working out, so I'm going to look at quod. I have a verb before it, so I'm going to use because here. The boy was leading the old man because he was lame. Again, the difference is Vinum is a neuter noun. Quod following a neuter noun is going to be which. Quod in the second sentence is preceded by a verb, so it is going to be a conjunction. Here are some more skills that you're going to have for the test. 1 through 5 here, you're identifying the tense of the verb. Make sure that you're looking for tense markers, and make sure that you're looking for tense clues. So go through 1 through 5 and see if you can get those tenses. There we go. Syllabrabat, I have BA, so the answer to that is imperfect. Number 2, I have erat. ERA is the marker for the imperfect for conjugations of sum, so number 2 is imperfect. Number 3, possum, there is no marker, so it's present tense. Number 4, potua erant. If you see the erant, you have to guess perfect, but U is the tense clue there. Fecit, that's the third principal part of facio, facere, feci, facit, functus, so that's the perfect form. Third principal part is the perfect form. In that case, there would be a long mark over the E. I didn't put it on there. 6 through 10, answer those. What kind of word am I? Am I a noun? Am I an adjective? Am I a verb? Or am I an adverb? Number 6, laude is an adverb. Number 7, fidelis is an adjective. Number 8, fabulos is a noun. Number 9, habet is a verb. And number 10, deserti is an adjective. Okay, next I have 11 through 15. Try those out, see how you do. Am I the subject? Am I a predicate adjective? Am I a predicate noun, direct object, or object of a preposition? Number 11, I have femina quam ego vidi erat pulcherrima. I see the double R there. I know that I'm going to be part of an adjective, so I'm not going to be the subject. I'm not going to be a predicate noun. I'm not going to be a direct object, nor am I an object of a preposition. If I'm an adjective, I'm probably going to be a predicate adjective. A predicate adjective is an adjective that is used with a linking verb, in this case, erat. Number 12, ancilla quae urnum portabat lente ambulat. I have the slave woman who was carrying the urn, was walking slowly. The ancilla in this case is in the nominative. That should help you out. So it's either going to be the subject or the predicate noun. I don't have assume. I don't have a linking verb, so it is the subject. And ancilla is the person doing the walking. Number 13, multas fabulas narrabant. They were telling many stories. In this case, the direct object, fabulos, it's accusative, it's a plural. It is what they were telling. 14, quintus ad alum venet. It is accusative here, but remember the accusative can either be the direct object or the object of a preposition. I have a preposition right before it, so I'm going to go with preposition. Quintus went to the palace. And alum would be the object of a preposition. In this case, the object of odd. 15, cogidubnis est rex. Okay, I have a nominative form here, so it's either subject or predicate noun. Cogidubnis is the subject, just based off of word order. Cogidubnis is the subject, est the verb, and rex then becomes the predicate noun. What case do I take? This all has to do with how the word is being used in the sentence. In number 16, I need an object of a preposition. So you'll have to forgive me for not putting the macrons over the A's. I forgot. So in can take the accusative welam, or it can take the ablative wela. Scratch out weli and scratch out welarum immediately. It's either B or C. In this case, something were many princes. So many princes were in the villa. There is no motion, so I'm going to choose B. I'm already in the villa. I'm not outside coming into. I'm already in the villa. It wouldn't make sense for me to say many princes were into the villa. So I'm going to go with B, the ablative. Odd takes the accusative. I look at rogum. It's the only accusative available. I don't even have to read the sentence. The princes proceeded to the funeral pyre. So A, rogum. It's the only accusative form. Prope also takes the accusative, so I can scratch out the rest. The only one I have left is ariam. It's the only accusative. Aria is gone, arius is gone, and arium is also gone. So Quintus looked at the slaves near the threshing area or courtyard. The next are adjective agreement. Remember, adjectives have to agree in case, number, and gender with their noun. In this case, the noun is puer. Puer is nominative. It is singular. It is masculine. Parvus feminine, so it's gone. Parvum is masculine and singular, but it is accusative, so it's gone. Parvus is nominative. It is masculine. It is singular, just like puer. That's my answer, C. 20, again, I'm looking for an adjective to agree with regum. Regum is accusative. It is singular. It is masculine. So A, bonus is singular. It is nominative. It is masculine. It's not accusative. It's gone. Bonum is accusative, singular, and feminine. It's gone. Bonum is accusative. It is singular. It is masculine. Just like regum. That's my answer. What relative am I? Okay, in this case, I'm going to look at the word, and that's the antecedent, and I'm going to decide what the number and gender is based off of the antecedent. In this case, welam is going to be the antecedent, so I need a singular feminine. I look inside the clause S magna, and I know that it has to be the subject. So I need a nominative to go in that spot, because that's how it's being used inside the clause. I need a singular and feminine because welam is the antecedent. So I'm going to choose the nominative, singular, feminine, quae. 22, I have ancilla. So I'm looking for a singular feminine. I look inside the clause. I realize that I'm missing a subject. So I'm looking for a nominative because that's how it's being used inside that clause. I'm looking for a singular and feminine because of ancilla. So I have a nominative, singular, feminine, quae. Agnus is a singular and masculine. That dictates that I'm going to use a singular masculine pronoun. I look inside the clause. I have a subject in servus. I'm missing a direct object. So I need an accusative. I need an accusative because of how it's used inside the clause. I need a singular and masculine because of agnus. So I'm going to choose quim, D, because that is the accusative, singular, masculine. Accusative because it's the direct object of ducebat. Singular and masculine because the antecedent agnus is singular and masculine. 24, pueri is the antecedent, so I need a plural masculine. I look inside my clause. I'm missing a subject. Puelos is my direct object. I'm missing a subject, so I need a nominative. So I need a nominative because of how it's used in the clause, a plural masculine because of pueri. So Nominative, plural, masculine, qui, a. Number 25, quintus et cogidubnus. This is kind of tricky because my subject here is plural. But the antecedents are quintus and cogidubnus. So kind of tricky right here. So I need a plural masculine because of quintus and cogidubnus are the antecedents. I look inside the clause, I'm missing a subject, so I need a nominative. I need a nominative because of how it's used inside the clause. I need a plural and masculine because quintus et cogidubnus are plural and masculine. So I need a nominative, plural, masculine, qui, a. Friend or foe to the Romans, make sure that you're aware of this. We've already gone over those. This is part of your pre-guide. I just want to make sure that you're good with those. The biggest concern that I have for you guys taking this test is the agreement of adjectives and the agreement of pronouns. So this is a rundown of how I would go through selecting the proper answer for adjectives and pronouns. The first one here is, which adjectives should I choose to go with noun tie? First thing I'm going to do is find the noun that I want the adjective to modify. Let me change this real quick. Oh, there we go. Noun tie is the noun that I'm looking for the adjective to modify. What is the case number and gender of that noun? Noun tie is nominative, plural, and masculine. Remember that first declension is usually feminine, but in this case, because it's an occupation, it is masculine. So it's nominative, plural, and masculine. Now I want to find the adjective form that agrees in case number and gender. So I want to find the adjective that has a nominative, plural, masculine ending. A, Romanus, is singular, so it's gone. It's nominative, masculine, and singular. Romana is nominative, singular, and feminine. Romani is nominative, plural, and masculine. There we go. Romani is my answer because it is nominative, plural, and masculine, just like noun tie. So I want to find the noun, I want to determine the case number and gender of the noun, and then I want to find the adjective that has the same form, that has the same case number and gender. Okay, next I have the pronoun, the relative pronoun process. In this case, I want to find the antecedent, that is rhetor. I want to determine the number and gender of the antecedent, which is singular and masculine. So I am going to choose a singular and masculine from my relative pronouns. Next, I want to determine how the pronoun is used in the clause. In this case, pueros is the direct object, docet is the verb. I need a subject, so I need a subject. Now I need to determine the case needed to perform this use. Nominative creates the subject. I need to put all three of those together. We said that it was singular and masculine because of rhetor. It's nominative because it's the subject. So I need a nominative, singular, and masculine form of qui. Then I want to choose the pronoun of the same case number and gender. Qui is the nominative, masculine, and singular. Make sure, if I were you, I might go through these two processes and make sure that you have those down pretty well, because there are several questions that deal with the agreement of antecedents with pronouns and nouns with their adjective. That should do it. Good luck on your final exam.